I'm so hyped right now. Anything's possible. Anything's possible!
It's a surreal feeling. We did it. We did it! I'm a world champion.
We're not doing media yet.
Best in the world. Yeah!
Mike, back to you.
Thank you, Lisa. Complete and utter joy.
Jay, long journey for you. How you feeling, man?
It's great. I got a loss for words right now. For real. I'm just grateful.
Thank you.
Watch your back, fellas. Crowd.
Thank you so much. No, you better stop. You better stop. Let you talk over. Yes, sir.
Well done.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
The Boston Celtics are your 2024 NBA champions. I mean, congratulations to the Boston Celtics. I mean, they were able to beat the Dallas Mavericks in 5 games, and it was just something that was bound to happen. It was inevitable all the way from game 1, and the way Luka Doncic and Kyrie looked just didn't look the same. This is not the same duo that you might have thought that were able to beat the Clippers. They were able to go ahead and even beat the OKC Thunder, and they were able to beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, they just looked like shells of their former selves, and they just didn't have the legs to match up with the Boston Celtics. And the Boston Celtics, must say, give full credit to them. Their front office set up a good team for them at the beginning of the season, and they just had high expectations. It was a championship or bust season for them. And looking at even their regular season, they finished off with a 64-win season, and they went ahead, and they've only lost a whooping total of 3 games in this postseason. And looking at how the Dallas Mavericks looked, a lot of people gave them the nod to go ahead and be able to win this finals. And I saw a lot of people saying that this is going to play out all 7 games. Initially, even yours truly, I just said, like, the Dallas Mavericks, they look like a team that will be a very, very huge threat to the Boston Celtics. And the way they had the Celtics have had a run throughout this postseason, and I must say, the Boston Celtics are the best. A lot of people really underestimated their playoff run, beating Miami Heat team, which was short-handed. They didn't have the services of Jimmy Butler. They went ahead and beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in the second round. The Cleveland Cavaliers did not have Jared Allen. They didn't have Donovan Mitchell and Caris LeVert in the remaining 2 games. So a lot of people really knocked the Celtics even making it to the conference finals, something that the Celtics have been accustomed to for the past 3 seasons. And also in the East Finals, they matched up against the Indiana Pacers, the Boston Celtics. They swept them, and a lot of people put an asterisk on that because they didn't give the Celtics full credit because Tyrese Haliburton was not able to play after Game 2, and it all went downhill for the Indiana Pacers. But the Celtics were able to go ahead and make the finals, and they're able to go ahead and win it all and beat them. And they beat the Dallas Mavericks in 5 games. And a lot of people in the NBA mainstream media right now are just eating humble pie because they really wanted to create a rift between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, not knowing for a fact that this is a duo that has grown together. Jaylen Brown was drafted in 2016 in the third pick. Jaylen Brown, he just came out of the gate, and he has been a guy that has racked up a lot of playoff experience throughout the years. And people forget that in Jaylen Brown's rookie year, he made it all the way to the East Finals, where he got beat by the Cavs in 5 games. So this is a guy that has been accustomed to deep playoff runs. Also Jason Tatum, because even in 2018 they made it back to the East Finals, but they lost yet again to the Cleveland Cavaliers led by LeBron James, and the rest is history. So for the past 3 seasons, the Boston Celtics have been knocking onto that door of greatness and knocking on that door for the championship, and a lot of people really threw flack at Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for having disappointing outings, especially in 2019 where Kyrie was there at the Celtics. They got swept with the gentleman's sweep by the Milwaukee Bucks, and that was quite embarrassing. And looking at how things have panned out throughout the years, especially in the last 3 seasons, and picking it off in 2022, especially 2021, they got knocked off in 5 games by the Brooklyn Nets, led by Kyrie. That's when Kyrie stepped on Lucky the Leprechaun, and things just went downhill for him. But looking at how the Celtics have been able to rebuild their roster, and they've just always been knocking that door of the finals, and they've been in the East Finals back to back for the past 3 postseasons, and also making it to the finals 2022 by losing to the eventual champions Golden State Warriors. You can see the Boston Celtics, they've always had that championship DNA on them, and they've always wanted to get over that hump and make sure that they're able to go ahead and win. 2022, I must say, the Celtics just didn't have the chance there because they're matching up against the dynasty in Golden State, and it was just a learning experience for Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and the rest of the team just to be in the finals and know how to play there. But looking at 2023, it was so underwhelming because fast forward to what happened in 2023, you could see the Miami Heat won an 8 seed and they beat the Boston Celtics. So very embarrassing because the Miami Heat went up 3-0 on these Boston Celtics, and the Celtics were able to force a Game 7. And after they forced that Game 7, they still lost. And after that, right after that, in that offseason, Jaylen Brown, he was signed to the most ridiculous contract, the most richest contract in NBA history. He was given a 5-year, $304 million extension. And a lot of people really clowned Jaylen Brown, and they looked at that contract as an overpaid player, despite the fact that they looked at Jaylen Brown as an overpaid player, considering the fact that this man, he had some liabilities on his offensive game. There's some people said he couldn't dribble left, and he had some issues, especially when it came to playing basketball. But that did not shake him because this year made it to the finals, went ahead and won it all, and he just silenced all the haters and all the people who had those weak narratives that they were pushing. Then looking at these NBA finals, I was in particular just looking at how the NBA mainstream media were covering these finals. But you could see they really did not give the nod to the Boston Celtics. Even with this championship win, they will just come out and say that this was the weakest championship run. They didn't beat anybody. That's what the narrative is going to be. And it's just so sad because it really takes away from the hard work that these guys have put in. Even the Dallas Mavericks, despite losing in 5 games, it was still a season that was a success. Nobody thought the Dallas Mavericks, led by Luka Doncic and Kyrie, will be able to make it to the NBA Finals. Kyrie was able to make the NBA Finals in Dallas Mavericks, something he couldn't do in Boston in 2 seasons. The first season, I must say, can excuse him because he got injured. But in the second season, he got knocked out with the Boston Celtics. He was able to achieve that. But the demons that followed Kyrie, especially playing in the TD Garden, he was not able to get over that hump, and he was really struggled a lot. And when he played in the TD Garden, it was very difficult. And the Celtics were able to do one thing that I felt like it was impossible, especially in Game 3. They were able to steal that Game 3. And that Game 3 it could have gone either way. But a lot of times when I watched that game, I just felt like the Dallas Mavericks let that game go. Because in Game 4, I feel like that was a clear example of a tank job that the Celtics pulled off, because they had the ability to sweep the Dallas Mavericks, given the fact that they looked poor, and that time they were down 3-0. And looking at what the NBA mainstream media was saying, they kept peddling that narrative that the Dallas Mavericks are going to win it in 7, which was, I must say, it was actually crazy, and I did not even believe it any second. I don't know why people had the confidence in saying that just because the Dallas Mavericks won Game 4, they'll have the ability to win 3 straight and force a Game 7. They kept saying Mavs in 7. I know a lot of people were optimistic at that, but it was so unrealistic, because when I looked at it, the Celtics were up 3-1, and they had one of the best starting lineups and the best roster to contend and win, and they're only 1 win away. The Dallas Mavericks, after Game 4, they needed 3 wins. The Boston Celtics only needed 1. And when I watched Game 5, So it got boring because at some point there was a 20-point buffer at the second half, and the Dallas Mavericks were not able to go ahead and win and go ahead and try to tie it up and steal Game 5. They couldn't, and the Boston Celtics just gave it to Boston. They just did it. And one theory that even came out and thought to myself, was it the Celtics need to tank in Game 4 so that they can celebrate the Game 5 at home with their home crowd? I think that was something I thought about, and I was like, you know what, I didn't want to give it like a lot of thought in it, but hey, it is what it is. Shout out to Jaylen Brown for winning that Finals MVP. I mean, that's a guy that has not been able to receive a lot of credit for what he provides, because a lot of times a lot of people try to diminish what he has done and what he brings to a team, not knowing for the simple fact that this man is just sensational. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they balled out. It was just a head-to-head matchup, especially in Game 3. Jaylen Brown, he dropped 30 points, 8 assists, 8 rebounds. Jason Tatum, 31 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. That was in Game 3. Then when I looked at Game 4 and how these two guys played, it was just something just awesome to see, because you expect your two star players to go ahead and ball out and be those difference makers, be those people who can be able to just carry the team and make sure that everything just works on all cylinders. Because when I watched how Game 4 panned out with the Dallas Mavericks blowing out the Boston Celtics and being able to get a win at home, you could see Jason Tatum, he didn't have a very good game, but I feel like they tanked Game 4 so that they can celebrate Game 5 at home. And I know they will not have been able to get a good reception in Game 4 because they were not celebrating with their home fans. So the underlying theory I had was, yeah, they just tanked this game so they can celebrate Game 5 at home, which is not bad. I feel like the Celtics were not in that immense pressure to win Game 4 because they were up 3-0. Even if they were not able to win Game 5, they would still have a fighting chance in Game 6. And I didn't see a situation where the Dallas Mavericks are even going to be able to win Game 7 in Boston, because it will just be another beatdown. And Luka Doncic, he has just been exposed on the defensive side of the ball. He's not that guy. And in Game 5, man, Game 5, this was just awesome. This game ended 106-88, and I must say, I don't want to say it's a quit game from the Dallas Mavericks, but the Celtics were the best team. And looking at Jason Tatum's performance, he was really, really playing for that Finals MVP, because he dropped 31 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds. So he really wanted that Finals MVP on him. But looking at the whole performance, when you look at in totality of the game, from Game 1 to Game 5, Jaylen Brown had been the consistent option in that squad. And looking at how this game panned out, I must say the Celtics, they're just the better team. They're just a good team in there. And a lot of people are right now eating humble pie because they really wrote off the Boston Celtics. They said that the Celtics will not be able to win, especially coming into the season. They're not even the clear favorites, but they're able to shut everyone up. They had the best record in the NBA with 64 wins, and in that 64-win season, they're able to cap it off with a championship, and they just put them there as one of the all-time great teams. And also, they were able to win the championship at the same date as the 2008 championship. But if you look at how this roster was constructed, I must say the stars just aligned for the Boston Celtics, and they are the true example of trust the process, because they've had their fair share of disappointments, losing in the East Finals in 2017, losing in the East Finals again in 2018 to LeBron James, the Cleveland Cavaliers, losing in 2019 the second round to the Milwaukee Bucks. That bubble run was very underwhelming. 2021, they got beat in the first round by the Brooklyn Nets, led by KD, Kyrie, and Harden, which was so difficult to watch. 2022, they were able to just get over the hump, because at that point, a lot of people put an asterisk on what the Boston Celtics could do, and they really, really did not even get even the slightest nod in being able to do anything. And 2022 was that year they were able to break through and have their finals berth, something that the Celtics, it was way past due. But because they kept knocking on that door, they were able to get their finals berth. But that year wasn't theirs, and the Golden State Warriors went ahead and did that. 2023, it was so disappointing, especially how things ended in the East Finals. But they were able to just wipe that all away and just win it all in 2024. And this was their best shot at winning, because looking at the path that they've had, they were able to beat the team in front of them. I know a lot of people are going to put an asterisk on this championship by the Boston Celtics and just say that this is a team that played injured teams. But if you look at it in its totality, you'll see that you have to play the team that is in front of you. If you say that injuries made the Boston Celtics win, then we should also say that the 2019 Raptors benefited from the injuries to KD and Clay and made them win. We never talk about that, but you're going to talk about this. I mean, there's levels to this. If you're going to put like the injury bug on teams, then we should say that 2017, we shouldn't count it because Kawhi Leonard got injured. You know, the best star player got injured in the West Finals. If you're going to say that in 2018, Chris Paul got injured. So and even if I go back in 2015, when the Golden State Warriors beat the Cleveland Cavaliers that didn't have Kevin Love and Kyrie, do we say that that's not a championship because they got injured? So the thing is, mainstream media the NBA mainstream media should stop propagating these narratives and just accept that this Boston Celtics team was the best team in the NBA. And that 64 wins, it meant something, and it meant a lot. They faced all the teams, and they were able to get a very good record that was better than any other team in the NBA. They were even the better team. They were the best team in the NBA, and they beat any Western Conference team that was there. So they were just sensational, and the stars just aligned, and just capping it off with the championship is something I was due. And I must say I'm very happy and excited to see this. And man, with full props to Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis. They just did everything. And also Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is another guy that just went under the radar. He's a two-time champion. He won his first championship with the 2021 Bucks. And right now he's a champion with the Boston Celtics. And every time he's been in the finals, he's gone ahead and had a perfect 2-0 record. He was there in 2021. Right now he's there in 2024. And I must say the Boston Celtics have just had Grand Slam deals. And this championship is so important because we've seen Jason Tatum get his first ring, Jaylen Brown get his first ring, Al Horford with his 38 years get his first ring, Joe Mazzulla, 35 years of age, the youngest head coach to win an NBA championship, Kristaps Porzingis his first ring, Derek White his first ring, Peyton Pritchard his first ring. This I must say, it was a championship that meant so much, and it means a whole lot for this Boston Celtics squad and these players. So Jason Tatum is just another stratosphere. I don't think there's going to be any debate on how great he was, because looking at his resume, the only thing that was amiss was that championship ring, and he was able to go ahead and do it. And doing it and beating Kyrie is something that the Boston Celtics fan base really needed, because they really despise what Kyrie did in 2019, just slighting Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and the young guys in the Celtics. And now he has to eat humble pie because he's been beaten in the biggest stage, and every time he's played in the TD Garden, he's getting booed off, and he's just getting a dose of his own medicine. I know he flipped them off when he got swept, and the Celtics have been on the giving end to Kyrie, because the Celtics have not been that kind to Kyrie, both on and off the court, because in 2022 the Boston Celtics brutally swept Kyrie in the first round. And Kyrie, with his antics, he was flipping off the fans, and the Celtics fan base do not like Kyrie. Even in the finals, I even made a video talking about this, and I just said, you know what, it's going to be very difficult for Kyrie to play and perform in the TD Garden. And it was true, because in this game 5, the man shot poorly. I mean, he had 15 points, or plus minus 11. He had 9 assists, 3 rebounds. He was 5 of 16. and he just had a poor game, and the man was not the same. Even when I covered when the Celtics were up 2-0, I mentioned that Kyrie's performance in the Boston Celtics in TD Garden, they were underwhelming, and he's not been able to get over the demons of playing for Boston, and the Boston Celtics fan base will never forgive him for it. Even after Game 5 after the Celtics won the championship, you could see Kyrie was getting booed, and he was getting jeered outside the TD Garden, and it was just a hostile environment for Kyrie, and that's something that he has to deal with. And the team that Kyrie slighted beat him in the finals this year, so that one just has to hurt his ego, and it's so difficult. But anyway, we're not going to focus too much on that, because Jason Taylor and Jaylen Brown are on a different stratosphere. All the NBA analysts, NBA media, the pen pushers, those clickbait artists, they have been shut up because they kept singing Mavs in 7, but it was not going to happen at all. Nothing like that was going to happen. And we have to respect and appreciate what the Boston Celtics bring, especially in offense. A lot of people wrote them off when they were not able to have very good finish. They were not able to finish their seasons well. And looking at what they have done and how they've been able to perform, it's by far commendable, and I must say congratulations to the Boston Celtics. And right now, as we wait for free agency, let's just see how teams retool. I know I'll make a couple of videos talking about free agency, how it pans out, but this is one hell of a ride, and I must say I've had a lot of fun covering these NBA playoffs, this postseason, and the NBA finals. So I'll just be following it up with a couple of videos, but hey, it is what it is. So if you guys like the video, make sure to leave your feedback down in the comments on what you think about this whole thing. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out.